Hello, today I am with Gerhard Paal, the Head of Sales of Digital Services for Siemens Mobility, and we attended this morning the Mobility Spotlight event. And I took this opportunity to ask Gerhard a bit more questions, especially about the Railigent offer. Firstly, Gerhard, can you introduce yourself in a few words?
Of course. Well, name is Gerhard Paal, and yes, I'm heading the digital services sales team. I'm based in Munich, and my background is telecommunication, and since a little bit more than 6 years I'm in the rail environment where I now take care of digital services.
Thank you. And so you have recently launched this Railigent offer. Mm-hmm. What is Railigent?
Well, Railigent is first of all a platform, at the same time an application suite. We have designed Railigent that it is at the same time an open ecosystem. So I would say it is three things in one. And you have to imagine if you work with data, then there is always a value chain how you get access to the data. So which means you acquire data, means you have to connect and extract data in a secure way, so intrusion free. Then you have to transmit the data. Also, that needs to be secure, so we talk about VPN tunnels. And then you have the data basically sitting in your environment, and now you have to make sure that you process the data, because you derive technical data, which is very often it's compressed, it's not readable, so you have to make it readable so that you can actually use it and derive information out of the technical data. And this is now where the next step comes in. So you analyze the data, you work with the data, and that is when you generate value for the different stakeholders, like for maintainer, operator, and asset owners.
Great. So basically, it's like a decision-making process tool, in an automated way, where basically you can connect Railigents to other systems to perform some actions or to inform the maintenance guys or the operators about some availability or not of some trains.
Yes, 100%. And this is a good point actually, Cyril, that you bring it up. So it doesn't make sense to just sit on the information in a data center. So you have to make sure that whatever we do is integrated into the process. So if we talk about maintenance, of course, here it is the maintenance management system, which we would feed with the information. So in other words, Railigent even allows us to create work orders out of Railigent. We would provide all the information which we have and send it over to the MMS system. And now the next part, automating this step, is that Railigent has what we call a rule engine, and with the rule engine we can define when an issue or a certain finding will actually create the work order automatically and send it automatically into the maintenance management system. And this is where the biggest value is, because now you don't have the human interface and doing the manual work to create work orders. So it's all done automatically.
Yeah, the flow is neat. Basically, we don't have to wait anymore for humans to manage different queues of work orders. And predictive or preventative maintenance has been there for quite a long time, where we use data. How is that different? How Railigent is different from these previous offerings?
Well, preventive maintenance basically follows a strict maintenance regime, which is either mileage-based or time-based, as we know it. And so what Railigent does, and if we are able to apply condition-based maintenance first of all, and then of course in the next step predictive maintenance, then what we can do is we can let go of the fixed time frames, the fixed service intervals, and do the maintenance basically according to the condition. And with the predictive part, now this even helps us to foresee what's coming up in the near future, and then of course do the maintenance according to that information. So of course here the biggest saving trigger is that stretching a maintenance interval, because you typically say that engineering is typically very cautious, so there is a little bit of safety in the typical standard maintenance process. And if you want to get that out, if you want to get the value out of this maintenance cycles and you want to stretch the maintenance, then you need to basically apply condition-based but also predictive, because you need to know if a component goes bad even before you actually would go onto a maintenance according to the condition. So that is a very interesting process, but the savings are enormous.
Yeah. So basically, we move toward a dynamic maintenance approach.
Yes, that's probably describes it very well. Yes.
Yeah. And one thing that resonates really with me in what you said this morning at the Mobility Spotlight event was 100% availability. Mm-hmm. For the trains, which of course for every commuter is like a dream. Yes. How can you make it possible? That's a big commitment.
It is, and of course it does take. I did mention it also today morning, but it does take 3 components, I would say. Now, of course, you need good assets, which are brilliantly designed and engineered, but also designed so that they can be serviced. Now, the next stage is you need an excellent service maintenance environment, which means you need the people with the domain know-how and the experience. That is a fundamental. And then, of course, it's the combination of, or the add-on of digital services. So it's digital services applied to your rail assets, so understanding the health status of a train, and at the same time, digital services applied throughout your processes, and that is even more important, so that you have a digitalized process even in your maintenance, or if you talk of operation, then in the operation. So I think those 3 elements are really key.
Excellent. And the other thing also that I noticed is that Railigent is offered as a SaaS, software as a service, yes, not as a product. Yes. Why Siemens Mobility has moved from kind of product-oriented offer to service-oriented?
The service offering, now actually what the past or the history in software business has been what we would call an on-premises deployment of software. So you have your software and you deploy it at the customer premises, and this is also how you maintain it. Regular updates, and you said, okay, it's kind of like a product. I would always say software is a solution, and you would have, each deployment always a little bit different. And that forces you to also do and adjust your maintenance process of that dedicated software. And this is what consumes a lot of efforts. This is very expensive. On-premise systems, they run on hardware. You have to basically exchange the hardwares every 3, 4, 5 years. The software which is inbuilt, so the underlying software, you have to replace on a regular basis. And we figured out that in the rail business, the budgets are not there. And the way we wanted to address the market, because of limited budgets, we created software as a service offerings, so SaaS offerings, and they allow us to have everything running in a cloud. In our case, it's the AWS cloud of Amazon Web Services, which means we do not have to think of hardware. They provide the capacity, just what we need. If we need more, we get more, because a cloud can breathe. And then it basically continues. The software modules which we are selling to our customers, they have a large portion of reusability. So over 70% typically can be reused, and that is looking the same for each and every customer. And then, of course, configuration and a little customization will make it then just what the customer really needs. And that potential, having a centralized approach, but still allowing a certain customization level, that helps us to provide more attractive financial offerings. So,
thank you, Gerhard.
great pleasure, Cyril. Great pleasure.